Welcome also from our side, from Lara and myself. I'm David Orifici, working at Epexport in Public and Regulatory Affairs. And Lara?
Lara Bisone, working at Norpool as Senior Market Coupling Expert and since 2022 leading the SIDC MSD group within MCSC project.
Okay. Allow us to take just 2 minutes to introduce to you the panelists. Many of them are known to each one of you, but not all of them, and in particular not Dr. Mark Alföldi-Borús, who is the Deputy State Secretary for Energy Policy at the Hungarian Ministry of Energy, who has completed his education at the University of Hungary in Agriculture and Life Science, and has rounded up his academic training with a master's degree in economics and later a PhD on focusing on national competitiveness and renewable energy sources, which I think will be one of the underlining topics we will address today. Thanks. Thanks for coming. Then Donia, thanks for coming. She is representing Eurelectric and working on EU regulatory affairs as an advisor, and is also chairing the working group in relation to market integration and network codes at Eurelectric. Coming from 10 years of experience with an engineer background and also economics background.
Mathieu Franzen from Acer, currently leading the market codes team, which is the team responsible for all the Acer decisions related to electricity market, spot, forward and balancing one, with a background in Master Power System Engineering at Dutch University. Shell Barmasnes, who has been engaged in the electricity business for more than 25 years and currently chairing the market committee at NSOE since 2021. And finally, Jérôme Lapage, who is currently chair of the electricity committee at Energy Traders Europe with more than 15 years of experience in the electricity market field.
Okay, so you already heard from our chairman, Rafael, what has happened over the last 12 to 18 months, in particular with regard to the revision of the electricity market design. The title of our session is Market Coupling in Between the EMD Reform and CSCM. We know this is already something on which DG Energy is working on. They are not here today. They apologize. They wished to have to been here, but I think we have more than a replacement with Mathieu Franzen, who is very knowledgeable on this. So I think what needs to be underlined with the adoption of the reforms of the electricity market design is that for the spot power market, there are no fundamental reforms. So there was no questioning about the merit order. There was no questioning about any of the key underlining elements of the power markets. The NEMOs are running since decades on day-ahead and intraday. So this being said, there are all tasks being assigned to the NEMOs and also to the TSOs stemming from that reform. One of it is the shortening in of the intraday gate closure time, the sharing of order books in the last hour in the intraday time frame. There will be also a view with regard to the spot power markets in relation to the improved ability for participation by renewable generators. So there are a lot of actions on the NEMOs and on the TSOs to improve the current market design. Just a brief word on the long-term power markets, which is not the core focus of our activities of NEMOs, but still they have been agreement among the EU member states and also the EU Parliament with regard to long-term power markets. So power purchase agreements and contract of difference is also a key focus on which now DG Energy is working on, and have already kick-started the review of the guideline on forward capacity markets. Last word on the long-term power markets, regional virtual trading hub. This is an idea which has been floating around since many years. It's part of the EMD with assessment which needs to be conducted by the EU Commission, and here the relevant stakeholders are already involved.
Yeah, the European market design reform that was adopted in April 2024 and entered into force in July this year is landing in a market context that is can be definitely considered as underway, with SDAC on one side operational for more than 10 years and SIDC now operational for more than 8 years, are proving how the good cooperation among PXs, NEMOs and TSOs can really bring us to great achievements. It was indeed quite welcome as a reform, and NEMOs and TSOs are fully committed to follow as much as possible the instructions and the measures that have been indicated in the reform. On top of that, of course, there were already other projects in the pipeline that NEMOs and TSOs are fully committed to deliver. 2024, for example, as Rafael was already mentioning before, we witnessed the go-live of intraday auction, which was quite a great milestone to introduce an additional tool in the intraday market. 2024 and 2025 are seeing and will see indeed the delivery of the other projects with the constant aim of keeping as much as robust, reliable and integrated the European power market as already proven to be. In not that far from now, 2024 will see the go-live of the flow base in the Nordic region, switching from the current model of NTC, and further the future challenge NEMOs and TSOs will need to face is the switch to 15 minutes MTU in both SIDC and SDAC markets.
So we are ready to start. The way we have structured this panel is that there will be 5 minutes each for each one of the panelists with their contribution in setting the scene from the perspective, of course, of a member states, EU member states, from market participants, from ACER, and also from the TSO and SOE. And then we will open for discussion. So I'm pleased to give the floor to the Deputy State Secretary, Mr. Mark Alfredi Borush, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to congratulate for the traditional second annual meeting, and I am really very happy to here with you, and I'm honored to be with you as Hungary is taking the the Council's presidency. I would like to share with you first the points and the priorities of the Hungarian presidency. First of all, over these 6 months, we are just in the middle of an institutional transition of the European bodies and institutions. And having saying this, we would like to establish the continuity of the European Council, whilst to build a bridge between the previous European Parliament and the newly established European Parliament, and furthermore to constantly cooperating with the acting and with the new European Commission. The European Council's presidency made some priorities, but the first point of this list is competitiveness. We would like to to establish and maintain the competitiveness of the whole EU region and all the EU countries, and would like to raise the topic of competitiveness as high to be able to make this as a relevant holistic approach to all policies which are relevant from the point of view of competitiveness. And in the energy sector, we know that energy efficiency first principle has an utmost importance, and as a horizontal policy, we would like to reach competitiveness to the same position as energy efficiency. And in terms of competitiveness, the presidency would like to reach also a new European Union competitiveness deal, which would be a support to sustainable growth of Europe, also to support small and medium enterprises, to establish and support the green and digital transformation of our countries, and also to ensure the stability of jobs. Turning to the energy topics of our presidential program, we would like to highlight that there is no open files of legislation making proposals of the European Union, and we would like to use this time frame to discuss and to have debates on energy sovereignty, affordability of energy, and also how Europe is able to supply households with affordable energy prices and SMEs and other industrial players with competitive energy prices. Furthermore, we would like to also make steps to reach much more resilient and flexible energy markets. And we have three higher topics regarding energy issues. First of all, that under the Fit for 55 umbrella and 2030 and 2050 goals and targets, we would like to match the newly refreshed and announced national energy and climate plans with the 2030-2050 targets. The European Commission will have the first quick assessment on the NEMDs in November, December, and we would like to have also a debate on that, whether the new NEMDs will match with the 2030-2050 goals, or maybe there are some lacks, and we would like to also have the conclusions on that. Furthermore, we would like to reach a greater attention to geothermal energy. We had also held an informal energy council in July in Budapest, and one topic was on these discussions geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is a kind of underestimated energy source of the European Union, and all the member states reacted that they are warmly welcoming to raise the question of geothermal energy, as this drives also us to decarbonization and also the energy sovereignty of the European Union, especially in the heating sector, but potentially also in the electricity sector, and also it could support the flexibility of electricity sector as well. We would like to close these or start these discussions, but permanently close with Council conclusions on geothermal energy, which will be maybe the first point regarding geothermal energy on EU level. And last but not least, we are also focusing on grid developments, electricity grid developments. We have experienced a lot of strange situations regarding electricity just over the last 2-3 months as well. Regarding pricing as well, but blackouts of some Balkan countries has happened as well. And electricity and grids are the precondition to decarbonization. And right now, electricity grids are the backbone, but also the bottleneck of decarbonization as we see that. And we would like to advocate for central EU budget as well, and funds to have more interconnections, but also to have more within the country transmission and distribution system developments as well. And we would like to also, or we will have a conference on grid developments on 14th of October in Budapest. I'm also very happy to invite all of you to that event, which will be also streamlined, but in person you can also attend. On this grid development conference, we would like to also raise the question that we are in the middle of market integration, but market integration will have lags in case of grid problems. So in a nutshell, these are the priorities of the Hungarian presidency: competitiveness, and to the topic of today's agenda and today's conference, grids and also market integration are in focal point. We would like to have much more discussions, much more debates on that topics during the next 3.5 months. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks you for highlighting again the priorities of the Hungarian Council presidency. I now give the floor to Mathieu and ask the logistics to show the slide, please.
Thank you. Thank you, David, Lara, organizing NEMO committee. Thanks indeed for inviting me here. Beautiful view of Athens to hopefully have a good debate on electricity markets. When I was preparing this, I was thinking about how did I get into this. 2007, I think it was my first meeting, and it was surprisingly a meeting with a lot of TSOs and a lot of NEMOs around the table, all discussing the extension of the trilateral market coupling into Germany at the time. I must be honest, at that time I didn't expect to still be here after so long, and maybe on some parts also not to still discuss the same things, I think. Do I have a clicker or do I just say next slide? Perfect. Of course, 2007 was a bit the beginning. A lot of discussions and also a lot of freedom in that sense on what was to be implemented. But this in the end led to, I would say, a sort of target model or model design for the electricity markets around, I would say, 2015. It defined legal obligations for TSOs. Interesting enough, I think we were recently also confronted by the fact that the political goal was 2014 to finish it, although the legislation was only there by 2015. But alas, that's how things go, I would say. But indeed, those legal obligations on NEMOs and TSOs indeed existed to further implement market coupling, and indeed extend it towards the rest of Europe. And maybe click to the next. Yes, thank you. So this full coverage was in the end reached in 2022. To be honest, I think also here we would have expected that to be a bit quicker. So although we indeed congratulate NEMOs and TSOs to reach that overall coverage, and I think it was also just in time for the crisis, which was, I think, a proper timing. But it took quite some time, and also taking back the memory, we also at the time of the market design and the start of the market design, we already knew that there were subsequent steps. So market coupling was one, but indeed 15-minute shorter time units, better granularity, I think flow-based, capacity calculation, all those things were IDAs recently introduced. All of them were I think in the course between 2007 and 2015 already discussed, and indeed also seen as subsequent evolutions of the market design in order to serve the whole energy transition. Because also, I think already a long time ago, it was seen that shorter term trading, closer to real time, everything around that was indeed the objective and was indeed the direction of travel for the European electricity markets. And of course, this is a very big, a big challenge, a big path to go along. Indeed, the European electricity market is indeed now one of the biggest in the world. But indeed, we also had more further ambitions on their implementations, and I think we still see that there is further improvements possible, which we're indeed also still discussing. So I will not dwell on governance today. I think everybody knows our opinion on that, but we also accept a difference of opinion. But we do take NEMOs on then delivering. So we don't care in that sense that much on how it's delivered, but that it is delivered. And I think indeed the shorter time units and everything around that is indeed an important point. So we do see it's urgent to complete the design, to further integrate short-term markets, indeed the shortening, so the improved time and space granularity, I think for us is a very important point. Of course, the bidding zone review coming, but the 50-minute MTU is important. The flow-based allocation, also in intraday, continuous and day ahead, or continuous and intraday, is an important next step. Happy to see that there's finally a go live for the Nordic day ahead flow-based. So all those things are indeed on our plate, and indeed something we think is important. Then, of course, also comes the 70%. This is more addressed to TSOs, but indeed the offering of sufficient levels of cross-zonal capacity. I think Eastern Europe recently experienced what low levels of cross-zonal capacity mean for market prices. So also that is still an important objective for us. And indeed, then finally, it's also TSOs, but indeed related to short-term market, the accession of TSOs to the European balancing platforms, so that also the balancing market gets integrated. What will we do in terms of monitoring? So and I need to look at the date, I think it was 2022, Acer was under scrutiny by the European Court of Auditors on the speed and progress of the European integration process, claiming that different kind of legislation would have been much more quicker and efficient. I think we showed some disagreement with that statement, but we do agree that indeed the progress needs to be there, and we need to monitor this. So in the coming year, we'll engage much more in more meticulously monitoring the implementation of the legal provisions, asking all the NEMOs to say, is this implemented? This is how you do things in practice, and indeed report on this on a regular basis on our website. And then finally, indeed, the last bullet, we do look, and this is something we published recently in a paper around the future of the electricity markets, of the energy system in general. We have committed ourselves in that paper to work more on a consistent framework around both incentives and enforcement, or carrot and stick, as some would call it, to indeed develop a framework for TSOs and NEMOs that on one side is indeed clear on the enforcement aspects if legal obligations are not complied with, but on the other side, if they are and delivered in time, that there's also some incentives and payments and like money to put into the pot to incentivize the clear delivery, and indeed also make it possible to deliver on those obligations. So that's a bit the picture. We hope that in the end, our intent is to speed up implementation, to make sure that we get to the next stage I think we recently had very good discussion on something we do consider as the next stage, but we also see that a lot of R&D needs to be done on that, which is the topic of co-optimization. We think it delivers a lot of benefits for the European consumers, and we do want to investigate this more. But we also accept that that is a very complicated task, and we need to really consider before engaging in something and implementing it in real life. So, thank you.
Thank you too. Thanks a lot for all the points that will bring more and more debate and discussion, I assume. Now I give the floor to Donia, please. Thanks.
Thank you, Lara. So yeah, representing Euroelectric and market participant today, I wanted to focus on the critical topics that is occupying a lot of our attention at the moment, which is the shift towards the 15 minutes market time unit in SDAC and SIDC. And to start, I wanted to briefly come back to the key principle and objective at the origin of this shift. So I think that we all agree that the primary focus should be to enhance the market efficiency and flexibility, that moving towards a more granular 15 minutes market time unit will enable to integrate better renewables, to reach our decarbonization targets and bring other benefits. But achieving this goal requires careful attention, careful consideration specifically. So I agree with Mathieu on that the speed is important, but also making sure that there is no step back regarding functionalities and services provided by the algorithm and SDAC is important. And secondly, that we still have the right products available is also very important. So moving to this 15 minutes market time unit will improve and fulfill the objective only if we have this important consideration. In terms of sequencing, we believe that the 15 minutes market time unit should be first applied to the intraday market, and at the moment that is coinciding with the 15-minute ISP. And this will serve also as a testing before applying it to the day-ahead market. And then, so this was the key principles and objective. Now they are clear, but in practice, we see, I can share what we are experiencing from a market participant point of view. We see that the implementation is proving to be complex and also require maybe an enhanced coordination among NEMOs. I can give you some example. When I say what complex, why is it complex? It's because, well, at the moment we are still dealing with the aftermath of the energy price crisis that has led to the market design reform, to the implementation of new good provisions to be implemented. And also, we had also recently some partial decoupling event that has revealed potential gaps in the market functioning during a fallback. So this just to underscore that it's really important and needed to have a well-thought transition towards the 15 minutes market time unit that will not exacerbate the current challenges. In terms of greater cooperation or coordination among NEMOs, we have noticed that there are different situations across regions, that the readiness of the NEMOs are not the same at the moment. And equally, there are differences in product types availability. So this could lead to us for an uneven level playing field across market participants. So it's really crucial, and we encourage NEMOs and along with regulatory authority to enhance coordination and ensure that this happens. In terms of expectations, so looking ahead, we have 3 points that I want to highlight today. So again, we really need a phased and well-coordinated approach by NEMOs and TSO, this to enable everyone to be ready for the shift to the 15 minutes and to make its objectives feasible. Secondly, we need clear visibility to plan effectively, because market participants, as you know, are at the very end of the development chain, and to develop we need timely and detailed information. So yeah, we are calling for a more reliable and feasible timeline and communication to be given very soon. And lastly, we ask for this time to develop and testing to be taken into account in the SDAC timeline. So yeah, to have a careful consideration on our constraints on our side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Donia. And indeed, those are really three fundamental points to be addressed from NEMO's and TSO side to make your life easier. Jérôme, please. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Lara. Few points here, and we started hearing in Rafa's speech at the beginning of this session how, yeah, we're the biggest and most integrated power market in the world, and I think so. In the graphs that Mathieu showed earlier, yeah, we managed to do that maybe only in 2022, but it's huge. So I think like there's a moment to take a breath and realize that we've made something collectively very important and very significant, and definitely kudos to the NEMOs and the TSOs on managing that in cooperation with the electricity market community. So I think this is an important thing to remember, and reflecting on the market design reform and all the debates that were around it, I think where we landed in terms of political agreement and indeed the spot market organization largely left untouched is a tribute to that market and how it functioned and how it optimizes electricity supply for consumers like throughout Europe. So I think this is something really to keep in mind. Second, that doesn't mean that this market functions all the time and functions optimally all the time. I think we've seen this summer, like there's been a series of events from decouplings to indeed blackouts in small parts of the EU, but very large parts of our dear neighbors in the Western Balkans. And to that, there's still important steps to take in terms of the quality of the capacity calculation, but also how it is allocated after that. Still some work to do there. The interaction with new elements of market design that came in, including intraday auctions, but also like how we seek towards like the minimum 70% requirement in capacity made available to the market. All this interplay between different elements is quite important, and we need to sometimes also pause and have a look at the data and try to think what are the added value, what is the added value of certain projects, and how does it potentially also create difficulties for everyone, or maybe also in certain corners of Europe. So thinking, for instance, about okay, we've started implemented intraday auctions. This is not necessarily something, it's actually not something that market participants really ask for. But okay, they're there, they actually function, so that it works technically. Question, what impact does it have? So I think it's a good time, like in a few months, to have a look at the liquidity numbers, etc. But also look at effects it may have on the availability of capacity very close to real time. Which is something that some of our members in Southeast Europe have been warning about. Now, okay, there are some incidents, and we'll need to figure out also how to improve processes around those incidents. And this is not just a question for the NEMOs. This may be in priority a question for the TSOs. Like, how much time do we give market coupling the chances to succeed? And that's a really key question for us, and we may come back to that later in the discussion. But overall, like on a day-to-day basis, normally things function and they function well and they function very efficiently. There's a lot of work that we have on the table. I won't repeat what Donia said. I fully agree with all of her comments on the implementation of the 15-minute products. I think there it's really important what Donia mentioned about the alignment between the imbalanced settlement period. So what we market participants are exposed to in terms of risk and possible penalty in case we're imbalanced, and the go live of intraday markets. So we're seeing issues of 15-minute intraday market. We're seeing issues with that here in Greece, but also in Iberia for the go live of those processes. And we definitely think that we need more inclusion of market participants at the beginning of those processes, because the succession of the timings here and the processes would definitely have been flagged by market participants if we had a clue to start with that some of the planning was like that. Finally, I don't want to forget one of the big challenges that we'll have in the coming couple of years with regard to market coupling, which is the integration of the Western Balkans and possibly even more countries from the energy community. We really look forward to that. We know it's going to be a challenge. We know that TSOs and NEMOs are already working heavy on this, and we're happy about that. There are also bigger questions around what the effect of the implementation of the carbon border adjustment mechanism, so the carbon tax at the borders of the EU, may have on the implementation of market coupling in the energy community counterparties, and we definitely hope and try to contribute as much as we can to finding a solution to that. So we look forward basically to extending the benefits, the great benefits of market coupling outside even the borders of the EU, and yeah, we're keeping fingers crossed, but also like doing our best to do things to make that happen as well.
Thank you very much, and I can witness that MCSE is already working on that, but yeah, thanks a lot also for all the points you have raised. Sean, now your turn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say that from the TSO side, we are actually quite happy with the outcome of the EMDR. We do believe that the short-term markets are really essential to ensure an efficient dispatch of generation and flexibility resources, and this is really important for TSOs. So therefore, we are happy that the EMDR really confirms that marginal pricing is key to a well-functioning market. We also would welcome the CFDs, or contract for differences, as a tool to ensure investment in renewables and non-fossil generation. However, it is important to use these tools with caution. They need to preserve incentives to participate efficiently in the markets, reflecting the market circumstances. When the first proposal came out, we were really concerned in regards to the forward market and virtual hub being the sort of the only target model. We are now quite happy with the final EMDR that this is not the case anymore. The Commission will do, we hope, a thorough impact assessment, also considering alternatives, because we do believe there are alternatives. So this is also very good. Now, I think it's also fair to say that there are some challenges for TSOs. Like the intraday gate closure time, we do understand that there are benefits for renewables to move it closer to real time, but we also need to be very mindful what does this mean for TSOs? Because when we have intraday closing at 30 minutes before real time, our balancing markets close at 25 minutes before real time. In theory, intraday results is known after 5 minutes, so meaning there is no time for market parties to really readjust and provide balancing resources. And Mathieu, if we combine this with the 70% requirement in intraday, which quite often, or at least sometimes, results in what we call virtual capacities, those need to be corrected as well. So the result could be that, first of all, it is quite complex for TSOs to handle this. We may need additional reserves, and that again will have a potential cost implication. But I think we are working on this, and there are some derogation possibilities. So hopefully we will find some solutions. I think also maybe a last remark. Also from the TSO side, it is really important that the market coupling must run in a very good manner, and we also need to ensure that we have very good governance of the market coupling, both in terms of development of the solutions, but also in relation to the operation. And I do believe that the track record is quite good with the current setup. We have had some decouplings, but I think, at least the way I understand it, the root cause of that has been in local system, not in the central systems. So I think this is worth noting when we now go forward. So I think that was all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Davide?
Yes, so thanks to the panelists for their very rich contribution, many topics being addressed. So maybe let's start with a question to you with regard taking still a look back, because we are always in a daily rush with projects, with activities. Some of you pointed that during your presentation. But if you really look at the EMD reform, we heard it from Kjell, you know, the TSOs are very happy about it. Can I maybe address the question to you, Mathieu, or to the representative of Euroelectric, ETE? How do you see it? You know, could the politicians have reached a better agreement or not? Please.
Could I start?
Yes.
No, I think so. This is always a bit difficult, because I think the whole EMD was triggered in a period which was a crisis, which suddenly made the whole of Europe, including heads of state, look at the electricity market. We also know that a crisis is usually not the best point in time to really start, well, do some deep thinking and some real consideration. So I think in the end, the process led to, well, safeguarding what was working good and maybe adding some things that, well, that we think are still worth to consider. But I hope that now, like, calm has returned a bit. Well, we can indeed work consciously on the new solutions rather than in a panic mode, which I don't think was good. So in that sense, I think that the process, well, I think didn't lead to something bad, and it added some things good. So in that sense.
Yes. So in short, I think EMD reform is a good balance. Was a good balance between protecting consumers and keeping the market dynamic and attractive for investment. So in that sense, we're happy that it was more evolution than a revolution. That, yeah, they didn't call for a complete overhaul of the IEM. Same as the other speakers, that the marginal pricing was preserved, that there was no institutionalization of the emergency price caps, and lastly that there were provisions to boost flexibility potential in the market, which was also something very relevant. So overall, yeah, we're happy it was evolution and not revolution.
Would you like to add something, Jérôme?
Maybe just to reflect on what Mathieu said, like a crisis is probably not the best moment to react, and it always rings a bell because we've heard this a lot, and it reminds me of, on the other side of the Atlantic, every time there's a high school shooting, part of the political class says, well, like, that's not the moment to do anything. Like now is the moment for mourning and stuff like this, and that results in doing nothing. And I think from a political perspective, I agree it's probably not the moment really to act, but it's probably the moment to get you thinking and realize there are some conditions that are different. I'm happy that the legislation was indeed adopted towards the tail end of the energy price crisis, so things calmed down a little bit, and there could be more thinking and more rationalization. And in the end, it's probably a pretty good piece of legislation. Provides some more predictability also for like what would happen in case something a little bit like that happens, and maybe the next crisis we face, we won't have seen it coming, and we won't have put in place the right like safeguard measures. But at least we have something that can make sure that we keep the efficiency and also the unity of our markets like a bit better than in the past couple of years. So I think it was not bad that we did something, but it's also not bad that it wasn't enacted within like a month or something, because we've seen that with the emergency measures, and I think you recorded at some point more than 500 emergency measures throughout Europe, and that was just within a year or something like this. So that in the end we're not so bad.
Kjell, would you like to add something else apart from what you said?
No, not really. I think most have been said. As I said, in general, we are quite happy with the reform. But I do believe we have some actions also taken by politicians that were quite useful during that time. And one is this. You remember there is this methodology where you automatically increase the technical price limit of the day-ahead market, and I think politicians realized sooner than maybe the regulation foresaw that we had to stop this, because there were some strange effects and potential severe consequences. So I think that was a good example where actually politicians, they really reacted in a good way, supporting both NEMOs, maybe in particular, and also TSOs, who advocated very strongly against this.
And if I may ask to you, Mr. Alfredi Borush, I mean, you have a background between competitiveness and the energy sector. We are here in a fora where both the TSOs and the NEMOs are committed to running day-ahead and intraday market. How do you see the new balance which needs to be struck at European level between the EU member countries, with the 50 or 55 targets, but now a strong discourse, at least at political level, when it comes to competitiveness of the energy prices? I mean, how are you seeing this trilemma, and how would you tackle it during your presidency of the Council?
What we would like to reach under these 3.5 months in the forthcoming period is to discuss about it, to maybe not to find solution, but to discuss about it, because at the end we are working for our consumers and for the welfare of consumers and for the whole EU, and under this umbrella we have to see every market development and every EU legislation as well. In the energy markets, yes, the new electricity market design has not changed the basics of the markets, so the pay as clear model or the merit order is still alive, and when that happens, then we have to also make good decisions and to enhance the power generation sector as well, because I believe that the new electricity market design has shown some good points in order to have secure state aid rules on new or on finance of new power generation units. But first of all, flexibility would be the first priority. How we can make much more flexible entities in the market. Of course, market models on flexibility will be something where we are already in delay, I guess, in flexibility solutions. However, we also have to work on the devices. Who will be able to provide flexibility to the markets, batteries and other solutions as well. But not only flexibility, but the base load is missing when we are taking into account how big development or increase will be in the demand of power load when we are targeting really the Fit for 55 targets. And the new energy and climate plans will show what will be the new load demand for EU. Plus, we have to count also on the countries of energy community, plus also on Ukraine. Just today, the International Energy Agency has announced a 10 points program how to support Ukraine's winter preparedness and also the electricity sector of Ukraine, which is also will be a challenge for Europe and especially for the eastern countries, which are interlinked with Ukraine. As far as I know, Hungary is the most impacted, as Hungary has 4 interconnectors to Ukraine, and the other countries has only maximum 2 lines towards Ukraine. So within the EU market integration, we have to work also somehow how to be integrated also with other countries as well. And we need power generation units for that. We are also welcoming that the electricity market design allows the finance of nuclear capacities as well. Atomic energy is also on the agenda, and and after the power generation, the implementation, the way of implementation is the next challenge. I guess that this new electricity market design was concluded just 5 years after the first electricity market design, and this is a very short period of time with really a lot of changes. Maybe not fundamental changes, but in the details and in the numbers there has been lots of changes. I mentioned already that Europe is in delay regarding the flexibility markets, and also NEMOs, TSOs are key partners when we are talking about flexibility. So this is not only the business of DSOs, also the NEMOs, power exchanges and TSOs are important players of that. Maybe this delay is one topic, and next to that we are working on implementation. And during the implementation, maybe some checkpoints would be very beneficial to set first. In what cases could we stop for a while and maybe adjust the whole architect of the new designs, or turn back, or maybe postpone. As far as I remember, there were some adjustments already when we were implementing the flow-based mechanism as well, just before the go live, and just in August maybe the design of Mari and Picasso platforms were already adjusted a bit because there were some challenges during the implementation. So our message would be that please have more discussions, more debates, more impact assessments, maybe during the implementation as well, just to have the right signal whether the market conditions has changed or not, and still we are working on a competitive and good solution, or due to the changing conditions, maybe some elements should be adjusted in the design. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Before we go for a second round of questions, are there any comments, remarks, or questions from the audience, or maybe online? Jovka has a microphone, so don't be shy. There are many CEOs in the room, so I'm sure you have a question or a comment to make so far.
Or a good time to impress a CEO in the room.
Okay. Any questions online? There is a question here. Please, Jovka.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. I was just wondering regarding the decoupling events we had past months. Are there any plans to prevent from happening again?
Okay. I think here I take my hat not as moderator but as EPEX-Bot representatives, reminding to you what the letter of our CEO was back in July. It's really unfortunate it happened. We will do everything to prevent that, of course, in the future. The same day when it happened, it was just a question of minutes for us to be back to the system and offering the coupled market coupling solution. In the letter of our CEO back in July, we already stated 4 pillars on which we will be working. 2 of them which we consider will be easy to get agreement with regard to the support of the different stakeholders. One is to improve the communication during the market incident. The second pillar is also have more often simulations of market incidents. There was one back in March of this year, not on the partial decoupling, but on the full decoupling. And we think that even those simulations and exercises would need to be compulsory. But what we realized that day is that many of the market operators were not familiar with the partial decoupling solution and what they needed to do in that day. 2 other topics which are more contentious. One is about the timings. Is there something possible to rearrange between the NEMOs and TSOs? And the 4th element is about the fallback as such. What are the possible fallback solutions? In the letter of our CEO of EPEX-Bot, we mentioned the fact that there will be a task force of the Exchange Council of EPEX-Bot. The Exchange Council of EPEX-Bot is made about of 30 representatives of the different categories of the market participants, plus the TSOs. So we had 2 discussions, one end of July, one end of August. And yesterday, our quarterly regular council meeting discussed again. I don't have the results here yet, but I think this is a topic which we also discussed directly with Acer, and most probably there will be a dedicated pentalateral coordination group meeting on the 1st of October, correct, Mathieu? Yeah. So, in a nutshell, unfortunately, but I think somebody here in the panel said from incidents you can learn. And we as EPEX-Bot, we take that incident very seriously, and we want to learn, and we have done, or we are doing our homework, and we will come to the relevant forums, to the NRAs, to Acer, to the TSO, to the market participants with the result of that discussion.
Thank you.
Yes, Michele.
Thank you, Michele. Hopefully easier question for the panel. So you might have read the drug report, which was published a few days ago, actually this week, about the red tape. So it calls for a reduction red tape overall, deregulation. Do you agree with this statement? Do you think there are more years put on the table towards 2030 for Acer and SARE, towards the challenges with so few years put on the table? Do you think there's a need for more regulation or actually less regulation we need? I think the focus should be implementation now. And if that's the case, what's the role for the EU? Is it rather a national matter, or is this only for EU guidance, Commission guidance, and any other similar issues? Thank you.
Sorry, I was looking for you, and you're right behind. So can you repeat your first part of the question because I missed?
Yes, okay. Yeah. If you agree with the statement that we need a reduction of red tape, that's what the report said to a certain extent. And yeah, if you think there's actually need for more regulation or the focus on implementation.
Okay. No, of course, my whole job depends on the red tape, but I would generally agree that we need effective regulation in this respect. I think that was also part of a large part of our CACM recommendation was. To reduce the amounts of separate regulations. I think we have now all sorts of regional fallbacks, and we have also all discussions of how they work together. So indeed harmonizing more. It's always a bit difficult because it also means that you move something from an EU regulation into Acer decisions, and that of course could entail more discussion, but it also makes it more a discussion in the sector rather than a legislative discussion. So it's a bit finding a balance, what's sort of practical in this, how you can speed up. Our experience is if something is like fixed in legislation, then you just either need to do it or you can't change anything about it. If you put it a bit lower, there's more discussion about it, but of course that can also result in disagreements and the need for political guidance. So it is a balance, and at the same time, I think this whole legislative process actually led us to where we are now. We would probably be still with, EMCC and loose volume market coupling and everything that, and with all the inefficiency that would have, if we wouldn't have had a guidance or saying, okay, we do one thing for the whole of Europe and everybody joins that. So, yeah, maybe go.
Could I also comment? I think, we as, when I say we, I believe maybe it's also not only TSOs, but NEMOs and all stakeholders, we tend to look for the perfect solution. And the perfect solution can quite often be very difficult to implement. Just as an example, I think from NSOE side, I don't know how many hundred terms and conditions and methodologies we have delivered.
148.
Yeah. Okay, good. But I think we have delivered,
including NEMOs.
we have delivered all of them in time. Also the draft, the network codes and the guidelines, all of this. So the paperwork seems to be fine. But when we are going to implement it, it's a completely different story. And one example, I know maybe you won't like it, but if you look at this optimization exercise, yes, maybe it's from a theoretical point of view, it is the best by far. But there are simpler methods who can give us some efficiency gains that we can implement right away. They're already implemented. So I think we also need to explore similar situation like this and see, okay, can we find something that is simpler to implement? Because when you have something that works on a desktop or a desk, and to take it into an operation, both for NEMOs and TSOs, that does require a completely different setup. We will never put in operation something that we will not trust 100%. 95%, 90% is not good enough. Mm-hmm. So we also need to bear that in mind.
There's enough further question. Please introduce yourself. Thanks.
Ministers from Greece, Romania, and Bulgaria, they are raising the issue of excessive spikes of electricity prices in Southern Europe, the phenomenon which is not observed, according to them, in the core Europe, in the Western Europe. And they are attributing these facts to the, in their understanding, some complexity of the system. We even have been invited as the Secretariat to follow up on that, to try to help to understand better what is the reason for that. As you have been already elaborating on when to react to the crisis, as a follow-up of the energy crisis we experienced,
So I want to react precisely on how high or not high those prices are here in Greece, in Romania, and Bulgaria. So this is not something that we do. There's a recognition that the price levels in some areas of Europe can be difficult to sustain, and especially for individual consumers. Can make the economy of those countries in a difficult position, and we are conscious of that. Now, I think one of the good things from the immediate reaction and then reflection time that we have in the EMD is to make sure that we have a clear and common idea of how could we define that there is a problem with the level of energy prices. And that's Article 62 of the directive. Now, volatility of prices as such shouldn't be a problem in itself. And that's why we have long-term markets. And that's why those markets need to develop even more. Some of the trouble is in some of those jurisdictions, so including here, but also in Romania and Bulgaria, we've seen rather incessant intervention, political intervention in those markets. So there was a special contribution, for instance, on so-called windfall profits of CCGT plants in Greece for a month in August, announced on the 29th of July, I think. Repeated interventions on the Romanian market that led to basically no liquidity anymore in the forward market for the last 2.5 years. So those are also not conditions that are conducive to helping market participants stabilize prices on behalf of consumers. Now, I'm not saying that it's what those countries are facing with the volatility of the market and sometimes with the level of the prices is to be discarded. I'm saying let's try to help ourselves first, and I hope that these governments can help their own system and their own markets first before sending papers to Brussels claiming for a new design yet again. So that would be my perspective from an energy trader's point of view.
Thanks a lot. Mathieu, would you like to react, or?
Yeah, maybe the only thing I can say, we've not looked into this in much detail or depth. Of course, it also recently happened. We did receive some requests on looking into this, which we're considering.
Some days, the price difference between Austria and Hungary was more than 800 euro per megawatt hours, which is extraordinary high level. So somewhere there were a border between eastern and western part of Europe, and beginning with Hungary, the second highest prices were in Romania, and the third highest in Slovakia, but each were below of the Hungarian price by 100-200 euro per megawatt hours. So these 800 euro per megawatt hour is something which I guess is not manageable only with commercial or trading devices. As far as I know, there were problems problems in the physical assets, and this whole situation is raising the question of that we need more physical assets. We need more physical assets in terms of power generation, and also in transmission, and also in the distribution in grids. What happened in the hot temperature days, the demand for electricity has grown in the evening hours, when already the photovoltaics could not work furthermore, and the physical flexibility, lack of physical flexibility in the system, for example, lack of batteries, resulted that high price levels, and maybe a lot of other consequences could be drawn here, because traditionally the power units, the power plant maintenances used to be happen during the summertime, just like the maintenance of our grids are usually made in summertime. And right now a new phenomenon came into the European or the Eastern European market, where the cooling demand and the photovoltaics, and also wind, so the weather dependent power capacities and the power demand has not matched in time. So therefore we really need more grids, more power generation, flexible power generation units, and more flexibility also in the markets.
Okay, I'm looking at time. I have a Swiss background, so I don't like to overtake the time. Jofka is already making some signs to me. I think you share our feeling, both of Lara and myself, that we had a very interesting introductory speeches, many topics being brought to the table. Some of them we were able to discuss, but not as long as we would have wished. Nevertheless, join me in thanking Kjell, Mathieu, Donia, Mark, if I may, thank you, and Jérôme for having been here, and I'm sure we can continue discussion during the coffee break. But it's not time for coffee. Please, Jofka, up to you.